Hi everyone, it's Marty, and I'm going to again try to speak very clearly into this laptop. Thanks for doing this makeup for class 2 on lunch. Our agenda, which if you came to the first week, we did things a little differently, but every week what will happen is I will talk about the handouts and the weekly actions, and we will cook, and then we'll have a facilitator, and then. But this was this agenda. We're getting you sort of used to what's going to happen every week. So I will be doing the handouts, and then Mary and our facilitator, depending what day, Monday or Wednesday it was, we talked about stuff. Dr. Bree went through a review of the diet, and then I did a wrap up. So the handouts were smart tips. That was to help you figure out a kitchen. A lot of people really don't know how to put together a kitchen. Some of us are real wizards at it, and that's great. But then there's the rest of us. So I thought this was a really good little handout about how to put a kitchen together, and also a little bit about food storage and also some cooking tips. The African Heritage Food Swaps, that is to kind of just spark your brain. Same thing for the common foods of African heritage. A lot of times people, this is especially me, someone says, okay, name 5 fruits. And I just deer in the headlights. So I thought we would give you just some ideas to make you spark ideas in your head, like, oh yeah, I've had that before. Oh, that's right, I had that before. Oh, I really like that, and that kind of stuff. So that was why we gave it to you. Plus, we gave you a bunch of recipes. This is lunch. A lot of people have chicken salads for lunch. They have stuff like that. So we gave you some dressings. The tahini ginger lemon dressing people liked a lot. People liked the dill dressing. It was one of those, either you really loved it or you didn't. And one of the reasons was we didn't really get it to sit and talk to each other. It's really good if you can let those dressings kind of sit for, like a few hours and really kind of blend all of their flavors. And then, of course, a recipe is nothing more than a starting off point. So you always want to be able to spice it how you like. Judy did our catering, and we had pasta bowls. Okay, so people talked about what was for breakfast, and we went around the room, and people talked about different breakfast ideas that they had. Some people had egg white omelets. Other people said, "Oh, I really blew it. I just had nut butter with some jelly." Hey, that's fine. That's within the scope. The main thing to look at is what were the bread that you were using. And we're going to talk about that in week 4 when we do the grocery store tour. But becoming aware of it, thinking, oh my gosh, I really want to go buy this other stuff. We had people who did the tofu scramble. The tofu scramble, I would add a lot more spices. I also always serve it with hot sauce. So if you haven't tried that recipe, when you try it, serve it with a little hot sauce. It's what I always do. I also, a lot of times, will serve it on corn tortillas so that so it's almost like a tostada or something like that. And add whatever you want to it, honestly. We talked about lunch ideas. So people were thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do for lunch? I do grab and go. Okay, well, we're going to be talking and working with batch cooking on week 5. So we'll be really discussing that. But one of the things you should think about is you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. So think about, what do I need? What do I usually have for lunch? And how am I going to change that up? If you have a chicken salad, this is one of the things that I've always told people. If you're going to have a grilled chicken salad and you really want to bring in more legumes because you want to save that, like maybe you want a little bit of meat product. So you're going to do a little bit of meat product maybe at lunch, and then maybe you're just going to have a little bit at dinner with some grains and stuff. You're not really sure on how that's going to work. I always say, cut the chicken, like get yourself an ounce, shred it, put it all the way around because you get a little ounce, you get a little flavor, and then put in your favorite beans. Or if you don't know which beans, taste them. Get a can of white beans, get a can of garbanzo beans, and then just kind of taste them and just put some of those in there for lunch. If you don't have enough bulk in there, if you don't have enough heavy duty, ingredients for lunch, if you're just going to have a salad with a little bit of chicken on it and you think that's going to work, you're going to be really hungry. Okay? So you want to have a piece of whole wheat pita bread. You want to have some other, maybe you want to have some sweet potatoes in the salad or on the side or something, because you're going to need that you're bringing down calories, you're going to need those bulky foods to keep you satisfied. And we're going to talk about that. We talk a lot about how that happens. I am not that large of a person, but you would be amazed on how much food I actually eat, because the food I eat is very low in calories, but it's high in volume. We'll talk about that. I think it's week 8. Okay, so we ran through what was the Omni diet. You want vegetables throughout the day. So like I a lot of times will have, I'll get one of those really small avocados. I cut it in half, and I use a quarter of it. I slather that across bread. Want some toast, so I make avocado toast, and I have some onions and tomatoes and peppers on top of it. So that's how I can have vegetables throughout the day, even for breakfast. Whole grains daily. So we'll talk about how to do whole grains. But the main thing, if you're looking on the label, and you're going to have to read a lot of labels, I'm going to teach a really fast way to look at it. Just look and see that there are 3 grams of fiber per serving. That's the only thing you need to look at. Don't look at anything else. Just look at the fiber. Fruits, have as many fruits as your little heart desires. I'm not kidding. If you want to chow down on, 25 peaches, go ahead. I don't really want to be sitting next to you for the rest of the day, but go for it. There's unlimited. All these foods are unlimited. The only ones that are limited are right here, and that would be the lean meats, because they're very high in fats. So we bring those down to 3 to 5 ounces a day, and just look at a deck of cards. That's 3 ounces. Fish twice a week. Legumes, okay, that's a fancy schmancy word for beans. Have as many as you want, but we want you to really focus in on having a half to 1 cup a day. So you really want to focus, okay, that's how much I need to do. If you have never eaten beans, you're like, I don't know, then start with just a tablespoon. Just have 1 tablespoon. And your body, your gut biome will change to deal with legumes. You do not want to have baked beans, though, because they have a bunch of sugar in them. Eggs, no more than 2 a week. So, think about it. You could have chicken twice a week. You could have fish twice a week. And then you have eggs. Maybe you have an egg one day and an egg another day. That's 6 days where you have covered all of these meat products. And then on day 7, you now have something different. Maybe on day 7, you're going to have a different type of fish, or you're going to have tuna fish or something like that. Low-fat dairy, a couple servings of low-fat dairy a day. A serving is a cup, or if you're talking about cheese, it's an ounce, because it's very concentrated, and cheese is very high in fat, 70% fat. Nuts and seeds, 1 or 2 ounces daily. An ounce is 2 tablespoons. So just got a knife. So just a little handful. You don't put your hand in, pull it out. There you go. You're done with nuts and seeds. And healthy oils, we want you to use olive and canola oil. Absolutely no fried foods. That's the idea. If you want to lose weight, then you can't do the fried foods. And one of our facilitators was talking to the participants, saying, look, he's been doing the New Soul diet. He came in to do one job, but he started to listen, and he started adding stuff. In a year, he's lost 65 pounds. And his advice was, the faster you get on board, the faster the weight will come off. I'm just quoting Kenny. We all love Kenny. We want to limit treats to 1 time per month. Treats are foods that if they were in your house, you'd eat a boatload of them. So, if you're really a Twinkie fan, or if you are an ice cream fan, you want to limit that to once a month. So, okay, I'll do that, but I do that once a month because I'm going to be going over to, so-and-so's birthday party, or there's going to be a barbecue. Okay, great. Or it's my birthday. And any of those kind of treat foods, keep them outside your house. Otherwise, they will call your name at 3 o'clock in the morning. Avoid drinking liquid calories. We'd rather you have an orange than drink orange juice because you get more fiber and it's a better glycemic index. And you're going to get more of the stuffy whole food. You really want to do whole foods, which someone asked us, well, what does, actually, Dr. Bree said, whole foods. What is whole foods? And, you guys are really smart. They're foods that look like they came out of the ground. So you want to do, instead of orange juice, you want to do an orange because you can pluck it off a tree and you can eat it. Same thing for apples. Apple juice has a boatload, the sugar in that and the glycemic index is really high. But if you eat an apple, it's really low. So there you go. Coffee and tea are okay. Just don't add a whole bunch of high-fat dairy and sugar to it. and make sure that you're drinking 8 glasses of water a day. So if you have, a lot of people were talking about almond milk. Almond milk is great. There's almost no fat in it. That's really wonderful. I personally do not like almond milk. You cannot ask me to drink a glass of that. Ugh. But so there are lots of different milks out there. You can try soy milk. Most soy milks are very low in fat because they make them that way. In class, we're going to be using oatmeal milk and hemp milk simply because most people are not allergic to them. And take your vitamin B12. If you are already taking a multivitamin, you're probably covered with in the B12. But if you aren't, we want you to take B12. We were offering that to the vegans, and we just want to offer it to everybody. And we find that Americans on average are low in B12. So what's next? What are you supposed to do this week? Well, you've already figured out what breakfast is. You're going to continue with breakfast, and you're going to add lunch. And we had these pasta bowls with some chicken on top. And it was shredded chicken. So when you shred it, 3 ounces goes a long way for flavor, right? Because that's where you're eating it. You're not eating it just to eat a chicken. You're eating it because you want the flavor. And when you shred something, you break it apart, you can have a smaller amount, but it goes longer as far as flavor goes. So think about, what are you going to do? That's starting today. And then what would you do for dinner next week? And think about what okay, how could I make this dinner that I love a low-fat dinner? How could and bring your questions. We love your questions. We don't always, we don't always have the answer at our fingertips. We usually do, but we really love your questions. And then we gave away a prize. Sorry, you missed it. And then I did a wrap-up, which we discussed today. How did you make it through breakfast? What are you going to do for lunch? And then we did a dietary guideline review. Next week, we're going to talk about what's for dinner, and we're going to do meal planning. And that you're going to find is going to be your very, very best friend, is meal planning. Because when you're starting something new, if you don't have a plan, forget it. You're just all over the place. And that's why we just wanted to, okay, so figure out breakfast. Okay, you kind of figured out breakfast? Now figure out lunch. Okay, now look at dinner, and then we're going to meal plan. Because the next week we're going to go to the grocery store tour. And I would love for you to bring a grocery list from your meal planning. And I'm telling you, if you do a meal plan, your grocery store list gets cut in half, and I can make it out of a grocery store. And I'm talking about buying for a family of 3. I can basically make it out in a half an hour. And then you can shop after the tour, or you can shop before the tour, but you cannot shop during the tour because we need to keep moving along. Otherwise, BILO will get really upset with us, and we don't want them upset. We want them to be happy and say, yes, come back. The week after that, we're going to be doing batch cooking, this is also going to save your life and make your life a whole lot easier. We're going to talk about knife skills. We have not had an accident in our kitchen, and I am going to keep that way. I am very picky about how people slice and dice in my kitchen, and we have very sharp knives. So again, I'm very particular about how you cut. It's going to, for a lot of you, it's going to feel very new. You're going to feel like, wow, I can't really do this. But honestly, if you take the tips I'm going to show you and you start using them, what you'll find is within a couple of weeks, you are slicing faster, things become easier. That is what I have found with a number of the students that I have taught. They just go, wow, Miss Marty, look how fast I'm going. I can't believe this. And it's all very safe. That's the most important part. Thank you so much for being a part of the study. If you have any questions, if there's anything we can do to support you, please call us. Please tell us. We want to support you. We want you to be 100% successful. And anything we can do to make that happen is what our job is. Okay, we will see you next week. Thanks so much.